Kacheke poka katasamaka. Realize the craziness, the restlessness, and then you would sit in your silence to reach that ultimate state of ecstasy, of bliss, of samadhi. Hi, my name is Nistal, and this is The Inward Practice, a channel for deepening and understanding yoga, breathwork, and meditation. Welcome. Today, we're going to dive deeper into active meditations, silent stillness meditations, and the purpose of yoga, the ultimate freedom, the ultimate bliss, pure ecstasy. So, there are different kinds of meditations. There's the stillness, the silent meditation, in which you don't move your body, you just do nothing, you just have this inner observing going on. And there are active meditations, and in the active meditations, they have been created mostly by Osho, or Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh, as my guru is called. And in his later years, he was called Osho. But he was the master of active meditations. His idea is that the Western man and woman, they are so stressed, they are so anxious, they are so nervous that actually, they're a bit pathological in those things. And so there's a lot of unrest, restlessness within the Western people, the Western mind. And so if we come home after a hectic day of work and the mind is still crazy going on, and then we would just sit silently like in a Zen meditation, that would be a big challenge. It would be difficult. It would be very confronting, because you would just meet and realize the craziness, the restlessness within. So Osho, or Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh, my guru, he came up with special meditations for the Western people, for this kind of mind, this kind of state of mind, of being. And so he came up with active meditations where there was one or two stages within the meditation, which would usually last about an hour. Well, that's already a lot of a challenge nowadays, but okay, so most of his meditations would take an hour, and there would be like 3, 4, or 5 stages, yeah? And the first two would usually be like a catharsis. A catharsis meaning a release, a throwing out, a letting go of restlessness, of craziness, of stress, of negativity, of negative thoughts and urges, and you would just throw it out. You would have like a meditation where you would throw it out, like making up words. You would talk like gibberish. And you would do that for like 15 minutes. It would be a big release in the mind, and then you would sit in your silence. And that would be very helpful. I mean, the catharsis would be helpful to go deeper into the silence, right? In the stillness. So, it depends on where you are on your path to self-realization. It depends where you are on your path in what you need, in what kind of method or meditation technique would work well for you, would fit you best. So for beginners, there's a lot of restlessness and nervousness and anxiousness. It's all still there within the mind, within the body, within the energy field, in the emotions, in the convictions, the beliefs. So it might be very important to have a more physical practice. This is also, of course, why we do yoga poses. The yoga poses, they purify, yes, of course, our whole nervous system, but also just the body, let's say, the stress stored up in the muscles, right, in the fibers. And so, yeah, so beginners and probably also some of the intermediates, they might want such kind of practice, spiritual practice. Your spiritual practice is being called sadhana, right? Sadhana. So you need to find a sadhana. I mean, you don't need to, but it would be very advisable for your personal growth and your liberation. So, yeah, the physical part of yoga, the yoga poses, is an important part, but it's all preparation. And so, what is not preparation, it is actually the goal of yoga. So, there is a goal, a purpose in yoga. And so, one of the goals, one of the purposes is to calm and still the fluctuations of the mind. And yes, that's very, very, very important. But if we look a little bit from a bigger distance at the whole yoga path and Patanjali's 8 limbs of the yoga, the 8th step in yoga, which is called Samadhi, it is the purpose, it is the goal. What does it mean? It is the ultimate liberation, the ultimate freedom, the ultimate consciousness as well. So, the whole reason why you do yoga, breathwork, meditation, personal growth, spiritual sadhana is to get rid or minimize the influence of those old patterns, that old ego upon you. You want to minimize that. You want to free yourself from that. The ego might be cunning. It might fool you. You might fool yourself. But yeah. So in yoga, in meditation, you don't want to do too much. Meditation is not thinking and not doing. Yeah. Not thinking is a state of being, a state of mind, where there's just presence. Not doing. You don't have to make an effort for anything. You're just being. Yeah. To reach that ultimate state of ecstasy, of bliss, of samadhi, of freedom. Um, yeah, so it is a little bit different for the active meditations, to come back to that, because the active meditations, there will be physical work to do, like the shaking of the body or making a sound with the voice. So you can do things, but also if you work too hard, it would be counterproductive. It wouldn't work so well. Yeah. So, like in each yoga pose and yoga class and yoga practice that you do, you want there to be a balance between effort and effortlessness. It is the gray area where both qualities are present or not present, you know, not on the foreground, where you find your inner balance. The goal of yoga, of the yoga path, is the ultimate freedom. It is the ultimate freedom from this rat race. Yeah. It is the ultimate freedom for your bliss, your happiness, your feeling, restoring the feeling of being completely connected and part of all that is. People have lost that. They have become alienated in this world, alienated from their true selves, because it was not allowed to be yourself. Unfortunately, many people did not allow you to be yourself. You know who I am talking about. You know it. We all have these people in our lives. Could be even our parents, or brothers or sisters, or friends, even. Yeah. Or teachers, or the culture, or your religion. What you want actually in meditation and breath work and yoga, one of the goals might be that you're coming back to that state of surrender. Surrender is not doing. You cannot do a surrender. You cannot say, okay, now I am surrendering. Now I am making surrender happen. Surrender is more so a stopping what you were doing to be in control, right? Surrender is more so a stopping of doing the things that you were doing, thinking the things that you were thinking, behaving as you were behaving in order to be in control of the situation and in control of the outcome. And yeah, that control is very much an illusion. So we do not attach to any outcome of our practice. That is a yogic practice, to not attach yourself to the fruits of your labor, to any outcome of your practice. You just practice for the sake of practicing. It's good to learn to not attach to any result from your practice. You feel great during and after? Okay, nice. You feel not so great during and after your practice? Okay, nice. You know? So we stay in a constant, neutral, observing mode. And that already is a deep letting go of the old pattern of judging, the old pattern of the ego. Yeah. So the ego wants to do, it says, I want this, and I'm gonna work hard to make it happen. And it's not that, you never should work hard, because sometimes things need to be done, but you need to look at how you have balanced doing and not doing, thinking and not thinking, feeling perhaps. Yeah. So bring it more into balance. And for most of us, it's very simple. We need to think less, we need to do less, we need to be more, surrender more, feel more, relax more, and just be ourselves. How about dropping that whole pattern and just be? Give yourself unconditional acceptance, unconditional appreciation, and you have to do nothing for that love of yourself, for that appreciation of yourself, for that acceptance of yourself. You just have to be. Do nothing, be. Thank you so much for your time, your attention. Please like, share, subscribe, and we will see each other next week. Namaste.